Welcome to another edition of the P&B Sports Show. I'm Abel Sunday. Today, our focus is on the EFL Cup as Pep Guardiola's Manchester City continued their impressive cup run, booking a place in the semi-finals with a composed 2-0 victory over Brentford. It was a performance that once again highlighted City's depth, control and tactical discipline on a big occasion. Meanwhile, Newcastle United also secured their spot in the semi-finals after a hard-fought 2-1 win against Fulham, showing resilience and attacking intent as they edge closer to silverware. To break down all the key moments, tactical insight, and what this result means ahead of the semi-finals, I'm joined by our guest analyst, Walter Odige, connecting with us from the Center of Excellence, Lagos. Grab your teacup because P&B Sports start now. It's still P&B Sports, reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. And of course, I'm being joined by our ever-trusted sport pundit, Walter, the man that will say yes and is yes, and he will say no and is no. Walter Odige, good morning, and how is Lagos this morning?
Good morning, Lagos is also
Walter, I don't even need to say, because me looking at you alone, you and Saul, you guys are running things now. That's just it. There's no two ways about it. Okay, Walter, let's dive into the conversation. Yesterday, we saw the conclusion of this the last two quarterfinals game in the Carabao Cup in England, and of course, it was nothing short less than what we expected. Manchester City do it over Brentford 2-0. Of course, they're in the semi-finals already. I think that was a statement performance. But let's analyze the game. But that we saw a stunning goal from Chakios. What is his name again? What a performance from that young man. But let me get your thought about the game.
Listen, this season, they've been a team of the rise. They've been a team that, at the beginning of the season, they were shaky and everybody had everybody had doubts about what City we had to expect. It was going to be the City that was going out, the City that ended last season, that was a disaster, that struggled to finish last season, or we are going to see a brand new City. So, but I wanted to tell you, they just start 5-4. I remember they had issues. They won their first game against City, but after they went on, I think, a 3-4 game period where they were suffering, and everybody was like, oh, City is still City of last season. So, one important thing that came to the tragic period of the season, I would say, was the signing of Donnarumma. Because after the Donnarumma, they went on the run whereby they don't get the room, and then Alan has been, has been infectious form. He has been absolutely standing this season, and he has been scoring fire opportunities as well. And that sign of Donnarumma, it was separates difference, the major difference of City of last season and City of this season. Because City of last season, to be honest with you, they're not convincing. You know that, because now they want to go to last season, and that's changed all for them this season. So they are second on the Premier League now, and they just 2 points behind back end of the fight of the season, less than 30 million.
I think okay, let's click on the break. When we come back, we'll establish the connection with Walter from Lagos. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. still P&B Sports. Apologies for that technical glitch. Of course, this is Nigeria. Network will always do its own. Walter, you're saying something before the network took you off. So continue with your point that you're making before the network took you off. Savio, yeah, second goal. Oh. Okay, I think you are very correct in that regard. We're talking about City's slow start in this season. I remember on this show we talked about. I was even telling you that, don't you think Pep Guardiola might be sacked at the end of the day? And you said no, it's not possible because of their poor run of results week in, week out. This is the first time. I think the first time in fact. This is the first time we saw Guardiola losing back-to-back, like 4 games, 5 games in a row. We've never seen that in his career, but it happened this year. But what I wanted to ask is, them having this close edge with Arsenal, and we all know the kind of how Arsenal can be very shaky. 2 points, honestly, is too close. And I don't you think Pep Guardiola might just end up winning this season? Because it's possible.
He's down to this mark. So he got that by, and in this January window, this year January transfer window, he spent about 180 million pounds. Then in the summer window, he still went to the market, spent another 220 million pounds. That's about almost 400 million pounds he has spent now to rebuild and repair what has been broken. And initially at the beginning of the season we didn't see it because they were losing games and all of that. But what they have been able to do is they're able to manage and change the trajectory of their season. They are a far better team now, and I think they've gotten their swagger back that they don't used to have, like defeating Crystal Palace in the way to Crystal Palace with that such a score line, 3 goals to nothing. I think that's a statement win because that's one of the most difficult grounds to play football in, and apart from one of the most difficult grounds in the Premier League, for Manchester City specifically, Crystal Palace is one of their unseen dogs. Like, it's one of those teams that whenever they play, they always struggle, but they were convincing in that Premier League game against Crystal Palace. So, to be honest with you, Arsenal need to be treated with fear because, in all honesty, Manchester City is coming and coming. Guardiola is coming and Guardiola will not relent. Guardiola will not relent until he gets a hold of Arsenal. And I think they are perfectly poised to win the league now. But it's just 2 points, like I said. Don't write Arsenal off. Arsenal are also a very, very good team. But if they continue to struggle with injuries to their key players, like we've seen, they are currently struggling with a lot of injuries. I think their two top central defenders are out. So if they continue to struggle with their key players, trust me, I don't see how Arsenal will win the league this season ahead of Manchester City team that are eating form just at the right time.
Well said. But before we leave at Man City game and go to Newcastle Fulham, there's this controversial challenge on the defender. Honestly, I want your thoughts. Do you think that's supposed to be a red card, or it's just one of those things? Do you think that's supposed to be? Because I think had it been that guy is giving a red card, could have changed some kind of thing in that game. I don't know, but I just want to get your own thoughts.
The truth of the matter is, do I think it's a red card? Yes, it's a red card, but I don't think it's an absolute red card. I don't think it's a definite red card. I think it's one of those situations whereby, in as much as we can say it's a red card, as pundits and as fans, we can come out and say, okay, that was a red card. But in the end, I really believe the what's called now, the referee, it's one of those decisions. The referee can use his discretion. The referee can be lenient, can choose to be lenient, can choose to say, you know what, let us spoil this game, let us not ruin this match, let's let it flow, let's let it go ahead. So I think that's what the referee did there. So he didn't want it to be controversial, he didn't want it to spoil the game, he just wanted the team to go ahead. And I understand it's not given for a red card, but if it was also given as a red card, trust me, it would have been deserved. But if not given for a red card, like I said, it boils down to the referee's final decision or the referee's final outlook of the match. And so for me, the referee wasn't entirely wrong. He was, at the time, he was right to say, okay, you know what, it's not a red card.
Well said. Okay, let's move over to Newcastle United Fulham. Fantastic game. That game ended 2-1 in favor of Newcastle. But I just want to see it was a hard fight for Newcastle to crack Fulham. But the way Fulham is growing these days, you know why I'm so happy is because we have like three Nigerians there. We have the likes of Alex Uwobi, we have Kevin Bassey, and we have Chukwueze there. And of course, they are doing good things. Of course, they will come back to AFCON. Hopefully, maybe this weekend they should be in the camp this week, because AFCON next week. I think we are playing next week on the 23rd or thereabout. We are playing next week. So I just wanted to share some light, or what talking points, or what do you see from that game? What really captured your attention from that game yesterday?
The beauty of the Premier League. The game shows us why the Premier League, or why English teams are the most. English league is the most viewed league and is the most sought after league in the whole of European football. To be honest with you, I saw the first 30 minutes of that game and the latter bit of the game. So in the first 4 minutes, Newcastle were on top of that game, and Johan Wissa, a player that would not be going to the AFCON, because Newcastle say, well, with AFCON you want to literally spend over 50 million pounds on your transfer, and you went to your national team, you got injured, a sort of injury that ruled you out for the first 4 months. A player that would spend 50 million pounds on, you missed the first 4 months, and now you are back and it's time to AFCON. You have to choose between honouring Newcastle United or honouring the AFCON, and Johan Wissa decided to stay back, because I think that's fair, to be honest with you. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. It's fair that he stays back, and he paid off. He paid off yesterday, because in his first match back, he scored the first goal for Newcastle. But Fulham kept on fighting. Without Fulham and missing 3 of their first team players, to be honest with you, because Kevin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, Samuel Chukwueze, they are all starters for Fulham. They are all starters, and they are without 3 of their best players, or 3 of their first team player. So that really played a role for Fulham. That really affected them. And but they got the equalizer, and it was a beautiful equalizer, 1-1, and the game was going very well. So 90 minutes already, so we expected that game to go to extra time and then penalties. But Miley for Newcastle had other ideas, and trust me, Newcastle were unforgiving for an error from Fulham, and in the 92nd minute when we thought the game was over, Newcastle got the winning goal, and yeah, Newcastle are through to the semi-final. Heartbreak for Fulham, undeserving, but it's football and it can be cruel, and that's what we've seen over time. So yes, it's heartbreaking for Fulham, but good news for Newcastle because they are now in the semi-finals. Don't mind you, Newcastle are the defending champions of those tournaments. They are the team to beat. They won it last year against Liverpool in the final, and they are going all the way again this year to try and win the competition again this season. So it's beautiful so far. It's good so far for Newcastle. Although, to be honest with you, Newcastle, their league form has been disastrous this season. It's been full of inconsistencies, and I think they are 15th or 14th in the Premier League table. So it's not been a good league form. But in the Cup, in the Champions League, they've done so well. In the Carabao Cup, they've also done so well.
But winning this Carabao Cup, don't you think the fans might just look away and forgive the manager, even if they finish bottom, maybe second half of the table? They might just look away and say, okay, fine, because you've gotten a silverware, we can just let's just turn a blind eye to your performances on the league.
Winning silverware is priceless to football clubs. It's priceless to football clubs because today, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had won 1 or 2 trophies, because I think he played in 4 finals as Manchester United manager and he lost all 4. If he had won just one, if he had won probably that Europa League final, if he had won that FA Cup final, if he had won that Carabao Cup final, because he played in all those tournaments, all those cup competitions, if he had won one of those finals, trust me, when people are talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time at Manchester United, it would have been a different reign. Because a lot of people forget that this man finished second in the Premier League twice. Yes, his first full season he finished second. His first season when he took over the team, he finished 4th. His first full season he finished second. Then it was so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did very well, but he didn't win trophies for Manchester United. So today, when you remember his time, people forget what he did. So I think winning trophies is important. If you tell Newcastle United fans, win the Carabao Cup again and finish 12th in the Premier League, or finish 8th in the Premier League and don't win any trophy, they will tell you they will prefer to win the trophy. Because the truth of the matter is, when you win a trophy, it gives your fans something, it gives the players something, it spurs you on. Mind you, Newcastle were doing well last season. When they won the Carabao Cup in February, that was when they hit the bomb and they went on a very good run that see them finish in the top 5 last season. So it can happen again this season. It can spur them on. Like I told you, it can spur you on to win the league. If you are chasing the league, it can spur you on to qualify for the Champions League. That's what you're chasing. It can spur you on to finish in the higher position because you are now believing you are good enough and you can go all the way. So yes, I think the fans will be forgiving for Eddie Howe and the team if they were to win the Champions League and the Carabao Cup this season.
All right, Walter. Well, I think it has been a very, very nice time chatting with you about football. That brings us to the end of today's edition of the P&B Sports Show, where we examine Manchester City convincing progress into the EFL Cup semi-finals, and Newcastle United had earned victory over Fulham, setting the stage for an exciting conclusion to the competition. Meanwhile, thank you, our guest analyst Walter Odige, joining us from the Center of Excellence Lagos for his valuable insight and analysis. Thank you so much, Walter, for your analysis. All right, you can connect with us on all social media platforms on YouTube and Facebook at Politics and Business TV.English, on IG at P&B TV_English, and on X at P&B TV_ENG. That's the side of our show this morning. I'm Abel Sunday, and from me and the entire team right in Abuja, say goodbye.